I come from a very immigrant background. I will never, ever, ever make a bet that doesn't allow me to have a roof over my head. I think there's a lot of ways to take, people are not betting on their sweat equity enough. People don't want to work. Money is the shortcut. So that's why people borrow it and get it from people and they throw money at things thinking it's gonna work. I'd rather bet on me not sleeping and hustling and bleeding out of my eyeballs. And so the way to really bet on yourself is not by your financial risk, but by your effort and your skill sets and your hard work. I just think that people are thin-skinned and don't want to put in the 23 hours that it needs to build a business. You know, Jason hasn't slept since the Beastie Boys came out.
True.
You know,
True.
and that's how you win. And so I think money is a shortcut.
My hope is that people recognize how big the social shift is right now. How the cost of getting involved and building a business around what you love is so low.
Go
ahead.
Stop. So you guys, if you raise your hand the second time, you just stop what you're doing and you do what you love. That's your point?
No, because you have to be practical. You have to, pay the mortgage. You have student loans. There's practicality. But the fact of the matter is, I don't want people not doing what they love when they can come home and instead of at 8 o'clock at night or 9 o'clock at night, play Nintendo Wii or drink 6 beers or watch Lost Season 2 on DVD, I want them to start building a business around what they love because the cost is zero. I promise you, when you do something around the thing you love the most, you'll work the 16 hours a day to make it successful because you love that shit. And that work with that passion, that's who wins. It's obvious, we see it every day. That's the game. Because when you're 90 years old and laying on the bed going to the other place, you're gonna care about, you wish you spent more time with your family, and you'd be like, you know what, I hated that fucking job. That was fucked up. You need to care about everything, and it starts with yourself. Look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, what do I want to do every day for the rest of my life? Do that. I promise you can monetize that shit. If you love Alf, do an Alf blog. You collect Smurfs, Smurf it up. Whatever you need to do, do it. So many people are talking about, I can't monetize. There's a billion 70-year-old douchebags that are in control right now. But the number 2 person, that 34-year-old lady, she's gonna buy your shit. She's gonna put the advertising on your stuff. It's coming. Stop crying and just keep hustling. Hustle is the most important word ever. And that's what you need to do. You need to work so hard. Guys, we're building businesses here. This isn't about parties. We're building businesses. I used to work in a liquor store from 7 in the morning to 10 at night for 7 straight years, and the only days off I took were to watch the New York Jets. I think we're soft. I think America's soft. I really do. I think if you look at how we're handling the global economy, we just keep kicking the can down the road. Shit's gotta hit the fan eventually. It's math. There's nothing, I think we're soft. I think people have a sense of entitlement. I don't give a fuck that you read TechCrunch for the last 2 years. What have you built? I think there's an obnoxious, Ryan, to answer your question, it takes real talent, and then your talent is gonna be somewhere, right? Like either you're good enough to do $1 million company, a 50, right, a 500, but even if you're good enough to do $1 million company, which is a great number, an amazing accomplishment, by the way. Again, this whole fascination that you have to build a $7 trillion business. Even if you're good enough to build $1 million company, you're gonna have to work your face off. Like, you just are. You're gonna have to work a lot. It's work. And a lot of people are competing for that dollar and that eyeball. The thing that really stands out to me is there's no shortcuts. I think that people think there's some sort of quick move, there's some algorithm, there's some, things you can do that are just gonna get there, and there's just no shortcuts.
What does Gary think the most important asset is for a marketing person to have?
Patience.
Wow, that is not the word I expected you to say.
I know. Patience. I am dumbfounded by the notion of people trying to drive results and thinking it's gonna happen in 90 days. I mean, I get emails from people like, hey Gary, this isn't working. Like, I need your help, this isn't working, I'm not getting traction. Which I replied to, I'm like, hey, sorry, Sally, how long has this been going on? Like, what are you doing, how long? She's like, I've been doing this since, since March, 30 days, 60 days. And I'm like, I did Wine Library TV every day for 18 months before anybody watched it. Because this was 06, people weren't in the habit of watching online video, right? Patience is the number one thing needed. If you want people to buy things, if you want things to happen, if you want to build a business that you own instead of working for somebody, and you don't realize that this is a year's game, that this is a marathon, not just how life works. And so I would say patience.
That is a brilliant answer. I expected the word to be hustle.
I love hustle. I think hustle is my favorite word. I think hard work is grossly underestimated. I think people, but they're kind of cousins, right?
I think you have to seriously debate where you are in your life right now and give enormous thought to trying to make the thing that you love the most in the world work for you. Meaning, there is never, as much as I'd love to right now, room up with 4 of my buddies and sleep on the floor and eat fucking chicken nuggets 24 hours a day, it's just not that practical. Meanwhile, it's ridiculously practical for you, right? Now, a lot of you have been brought up in a way to be practical. A lot of you have been brought up in a way to have security and do the thing that you're supposed to do, and have had a lot of mentors, parents, teachers, tell you about the way it's going to be or should be. But I highly, massively, the single reason I woke up today and have not and don't do weekend events, because that's my family time, and woke up this morning and got here today, was to tell you one thing, which is I recommend it very seriously that you go home and think about the fact that you should probably allocate the next 3 to 4 years of your life to try to execute on the thing that you want to do for the fucking rest of your life.
Don't chase the money. Too many people that are watching this right now are going to do homework and read things that say, well, find industries that pay well and pay for click. And they start building websites about cancer because cancer terms are worth $100 a click. Or cancer's a little extreme. Or they're selling the hot thing right now, silly bands that make bracelets. They're chasing the dollar. They're chasing the moment instead of chasing what they're about.
We're never living in a better time where you have an opportunity to build a business, because the business opportunities now are often predicated more than ever on talent and time and effort you put into it, because the internet, this amazing invention that came along, and all these amazing entrepreneurs that are building things on top of it are creating efficiencies that don't cost us money, and they give us the time and effort and our skill to storytell and create. But we just need to be patient. I really think that people who think they're entrepreneurs that don't work 15 to 17 hours a day aren't. I really believe that. I'm sure that's short-sighted and one-dimensional, but I just believe it with my entire soul. It blows me away of watching the startups I'm investing in where they're leaving half-day Friday during the summer to go to the Hamptons to hook up. Cool, I get it, and I wish I could do it, but I think that there's a pretty substantial soft mentality in the game right now. People send me these long emails of my life's over, and they want to help, and I have no time, but I get I'm sappy, and I'm like, fine, what? And then I ask them a question, what time do you go to sleep? 11. And I'm like, you're writing me an email about the death of your life, and you go to sleep at 11? You go to sleep at 2 in the morning, right? I don't have time to build this other business, and I have to pay my rent or my student loans, right? And they play Xbox for an hour.
Right.
Play Xbox when you're comfortable. What you do is you position yourself to succeed. So for example, if you're doing something else and you want to do this thing you love, you do it after hours. You work 9 to 6, you get home, you kiss the dog, and you go to town. I beg you to take a shot. Roll up on that hot chick in a bar and ask her out. Roll up on that good looking dude and ask him for coffee. Roll up on your business idea and make it happen. Because being 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and having regrets that you didn't swing the bat is the worst of them all. Our at-bat is in front of us. Take a swing.